Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm your host, Stephen Henderson. The nonprofit organization Encourage Me, I'm Young, or EMIY for short, has a mission of empowering children and families to reach their full potential. It has two initiatives underway right now. One is a reading program, which encourages African American fathers to read books to children and families. The other is Respect Day, which will be observed on April 6th. Here to tell us more is the founder of EMIY, Dr. Calvin Mann. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Oh, yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So before we get to the work that you're doing, I want to pick up on something we were talking about before the cameras started rolling, and that's just the tough environment for nonprofits right now. I'm not sure everybody is really aware of how hard it is to do the kind of work that you do, which is, it is in that nonprofit space, that public service space, because the economy is changing and has gotten so bad. Nonprofit organizations like yours are really struggling to keep going and doing the work that you do.
Oh, yeah, we are most definitely feeling the brunt because we weren't on the scale of a number of the nonprofits who might have a surplus that can sustain,
a reserve
can sustain. We didn't have that. We've never had that type of support. Mm-hmm. So we were, in the beginning, as a volunteer nonprofit where we were 1.2, 1.4 million in volunteer hours, but for 19 years, we tried several times to move to that area, but we understand there's a lot of competition in the format of grants. And because we focused on boys and family, it was different. You know, we've heard that it was, your cycle has passed. We've heard it all. But with us having the success that we've had, 98% parental involvement, 16,000 males since 2007. All our boys are husbands and fathers and leaders, and families have been restored. We thought maybe that was something that was worth being invested in, right? And so when we transitioned, as we have to do it in pieces and places. So we have all these traditions that we've created for families, but we recognize that we're not the creme de la creme as far as when it comes to supporting our boys. And in southeastern Michigan, boys, as you well know, are most definitely in a considerable amount of trouble. Even when we did the Smash Suicide campaign for boys 5 to 11, recognizing that boys were #1 in suicide, crickets, right? So what we've had to do is take these little tidbits and then bring the success to the community.
Let's talk about that focus on boys. Obviously, boys are in lots of trouble, but I think a lot of times people don't quite understand why that's true and why that's different from what goes on with other children. What is it about the way we react to, the way we interact with boys, especially African American boys, that is causing these outcomes that we see?
Well, most boys in the state of Michigan, across the state of Michigan, they're the least fathered. They doesn't have a high interaction with their dads. And in this area, when you look at the single household, those environments, the boy is spending a considerable amount of time with his mom, aunties, right? Because of the other pieces of violence and biasness. I mean, like in a study in the state of Michigan, black boys were 44 times likely to be removed from a daycare, right? And followed by white boys, right? And then when we get into the areas of what's happening to all boys, we recognize literacy is an issue. We recognize those are that literacy is very, very, which is why we named the program Reading is Life. We understand that falls into the man, husband, and the father. So if I can't read at the boy level, it's going to be very difficult at the man level.
To read to your kids.
And so relationships are impacted by literacy. Family staying together is impacted by literacy. So we knew that we had to make a move because our Reading is Life program was such a powerful program. We had one 6-year-old read 84 books in 6 weeks.
Wow. Wow.
Right? And so when we took that to the marketplace, we even tried to do a crowdfunding. The support wasn't there. And so we were trying to figure out who is really going to take the time to say that these boys actually matter. And so that's where, we kind of stayed.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about this April event. What's the idea there?
So April 6th, Respect Day was created when in our mentoring program, we sent our boys to school to get the schools involved, right? Where our young men, because our program is called Emmy Future Leaders, where we teach our boys 11 pillars of character, those types of things, responsibility. Our boys are cooking, cleaning, supporting the home. We sent them to the schools. The schools never responded. So in 2016, we kicked off Emmy National Respect Day, and what we discovered was powerful. So for years, because it's April 6th, it impacts education. And the community. So because of Respect Day, the schools and the people that, invested in Respect Day, we had these outcomes. Mumford had their highest male graduation population rate 2 years in a row under Angela Prince, who was the principal at the time. We saw where the kids who had their Respect Me, Respect You, Respect We t-shirts, it cut into violence. The young men started opening the door for the young ladies. The communication increased throughout the community. Elderly people were approached respectfully by kids. So that last part of school was impacted all the way across, all the way through the community, right through the summer. So we noticed in this is our 10th year anniversary, which we got the word we're going to kick it off again at DSA. Detroit School of Arts has been one of our strategic partners in this work and for Respect Day. And so we're excited about it because now we got Ferndale at the table, we have Detroit Prep at the table, and we have Southfield Christian at the table, and we're building a committee that the kids can run from this point on.
When you're interacting with young men, I'm always asking folks this who spend a lot of time with young people, what are they telling you about what they need and what they're missing? What do you hear from them?
So because we work in the prevention, right, they bring Reading is Life is for boys 3 to 7. Emmy Future Leaders is for boys 8 to 24. When you bring them to us, our secret sauce is fatherhood, so our mentors are fathers. Because it takes 12 mentors to equal one father. So in that sequence of them being with us, we kind of recognize the things that they're going through early. So in prevention, if you get an Emmy boy from my program, my boys have gone on to be All-Americans, academic, just across the board. But what we recognize is the drama. We take that out of them, right? We put the physical in them, the exercise, which is all cognitive. I got a cursive writing book, so they have to learn to write their signature.
No one's teaching that anymore in schools,
and
other than signing your name, right?
And how are you signing your name? When you saw that's what made us pivot, was because I saw that the kids didn't even have signatures, which was crazy. So I put together, I have a cursive writing book, and so our boys, when they go through the cursive writing book, when they get to the end, sign your signature like a star. That's even impacted sports because a lot of athletes don't have signatures anymore. Right? And so that means that their apparel is going to take a hit. Right?
That's part of the branding and the franchise.
So I can't really resell a heart and a dot. You know what I mean? So we teach our boys all of that, get them in shape. They have to do a community service project. So what we're hearing from our boys is thanks.
Wow.
We're hearing thanks. I love you, coach. They call them, our kids are in constant contact, and we challenge them. Even when they hit high school, even some in college, we challenge them. In our mentoring, we don't mentor to hold them. we meant to set him free.
Yeah.
And that way he can become a man, husband, and a father. Restoring order for the boy is very, very strategic for us.
Yeah, there's something hopeful about that, right? That you're hearing thanks, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to help me or I can't find help.
Yeah. No, we get a lot of calls about, I need a mentor for my son, right? But we're not in that position, so to speak, to just take you in for 14 weeks. You know, we've had to charge, right? But in that, we got a 98% parental involvement. Our kids have gone places that they would have never gone. We fundraise together, the families. We do family day. So inside of that 14 weeks is the family restoration. The mother comes into our boss sessions, which is Build Our Sons. So we teach the mothers, which is headed up by, what we teach the mothers is by Dr. Heather, where we teach the mothers how to get out of the way of helping their sons grow. We do a lot when it comes to our boys of trying to dictate their decision making, right? And sometimes we give our boys too many choices. And what I discovered is we hand our boys video games and our girls books. Who's excelling?
Right.
So the one that who should be having the books, right, is both. So make sure your sons and your daughters are getting the books, because the one thing I don't believe in is that one is smarter than the other.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that philosophy.
Yeah, we got to support all of them.
All the way.
Right.
And if a boy doesn't have, and I speak on fatherhood all the time, but if a boy doesn't have his father, right, you're creating him just for the system.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it was great to have you here, and the work that you're doing is just.
I'm hanging on, brother.
Right?
Yeah, I'm hanging on. I really am. But
things will turn at some point.
Yeah, hopefully we can, and we can get the support, because right now it's a very big struggle for us to do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.